So the time has come, y'all. The time has come. A 4-day work week is really getting a lot of love right now. So this is in Business Insider. A company that switched to a 4-day work week to stop employees quitting in droves says business has never been better. The article says, after employees of an education nonprofit began quitting in droves, the CEO implemented a 4-day work week, and now the workers have never been more productive. That's according to Juliet Shore, an economist who has studied the nature of work since the 1980s and who consulted with the Boise-based nonprofit HealthWise to set up a 4-day workweek trial for its employees in August 2021. Like many companies dealing with burnout and economic stresses from the pandemic, HealthWise was struggling last year, Shore said, 6 months after trailing a new system where employees are paid for 5 days of work but only clock in 4. She said workers are, quote, dramatically happier. Revenue has increased and customer satisfaction scores are outstanding. HealthWise employees are spending their Fridays off doing family activities like sports or errands, Shore said at the TED 2022 conference in Vancouver, Canada on Tuesday. One mother of young children reported that now she can occasionally manage a guilt-free pedicure. HealthWise is one of a growing number of companies who are encouraging employees to work less hours in order to retain workers. More than 38 million workers quit their jobs during 2021, and the trend shows no signs of slowing down as a near record 4.4 million Americans quit their jobs in February. The COVID-19 pandemic's devastating toll on the country led many workers to reconsider whether their jobs are serving them, leading to mass quits, according to the organizational psychologist Anthony Klotz, who coined the trend the Great Resignation. Shore said research indicates shorter work weeks can reduce mental stress while improving job satisfaction and productivity. European countries with shorter average workdays like France and Germany have higher productivity than compared to countries with longer work weeks such as the UK and Italy. Wow. HealthWise CEO Adam Husney told the Idaho Statesman his company has seen very little attrition since switching to a 4-day work week. Husney did not change the amount of work that needed to get done in a week, leading to employees maximizing fewer work hours. Shore said HealthWise employees save time by messaging their colleagues rather than making phone calls, thereby limiting small talk. Quote, they shifted personal tasks like doctor's appointments to the off day, and yes, the pace of work at the office does go up, Shore added. People have adapted and they prefer getting their downtime as a whole day off rather than in snippets. Iceland has already trialed 4-day work weeks, and 85% of the population are either currently working shorter hours or on their way to. States in the U.S. might follow suit. California's state assembly are proposing a bill that would create a shortened work week for non-union hourly workers at companies with 500 or more employees. That shit should include union employees. Quote, there's a lot of talk these days about the future of work and the opportunities that it offers, but there's more at stake here than opportunity, Shore said. We have an imperative to face the challenges of our current moment, the pandemic, burnout, and depression, inequalities of race and income. Okay. Yet another success story. In fact, I got a couple articles up here to show you on this. In CBS Denver nonprofit transitions to 4-day work week. No reduction in productivity. No reduction in productivity. In Denver, nonprofit company Uncharted is doing a 4-day work week, maintaining 100% productivity for 20% less work, and the pay stays the same. At first, it started as an experiment, but CEO Banks Benitez wanted to know, that's an awesome name, wanted to know if this model could be sustained over time. That's why he had analysts grade their performance over a 90-day period. A lot of companies want to adopt this model, but would require longer work days for employees. Uncharted seems to have found the perfect balance. Quote, it changed everything. It reduced work stress, reduced burnout. We saw no reduction in productivity, so our team was able to continue to produce at the same level of quality and quantity of output, and every Friday was off. Jesus. Okay. And then there's this. They referenced this in the other article. July 2021, this came out in BBC News. 4-day work week, an overwhelming success in Iceland. Trials of a 4-day week in Iceland were an overwhelming success and led to many workers moving to shorter hours, researchers have said. The trials in which workers were paid the same amount for shorter hours took place between 2015 and 2019. Productivity remained the same or improved in the majority of workplaces, researchers said. A number of other trials are now being run across the world, including in Spain and by Unilever in New Zealand. In Iceland, the trials run by, I'm not even going to try to say that, Reykjavik, I fucked that up so hard, City Council and the national government eventually included more than 2,500 workers, which amounts to about 1% of Iceland's working population. A range of workplaces took part, including preschools, offices, social services, providers, and hospitals. Okay. Look, need I say any more? the time has come, man. The time has come. And I'm actually, I have to say, I am genuinely surprised that you have all these different countries trying it and that you have even California has a bill up about that. I'm surprised that any individual companies in the US are trying it. But it strikes me like they sort of viewed it as a matter of necessity because when the pandemic hit, you had burnout, you had stress, you had depression, you had workers in the Great Resignation who were like, fuck this, I'm gone, dog. And so in a situation like that, where they feel like their back's against the wall, you got to make some drastic changes. And the drastic change was like, well, what if we just had them work 4 days a week? Would we be able to retain more people if we did that? What would happen to productivity if we did that? And then they found out it either stays the same or it goes up. So there's literally no downside to doing it. And so, again, I think this is a no-brainer. Remember, the U.S. is so immensely overworked, and we are the only developed country that doesn't have paid vacation time by law, paid sick time by law, paid maternity leave by law. So, like, in this country, we're super at the whims of whatever your boss says or whatever the owner of the company says. And that creates a terrible work-life balance. That creates a terrible situation for labor. And it's time to shift that balance of power. And we're seeing the shifting of that right now with what's happening with unions in this country and the explosion of unions. They're up 57% since last year. And so the pieces are finally starting to come together, man. I've been waiting for this for a long-ass time. I've been a proponent of a 4-day work week for a long-ass time. And now we're finally starting to see it happen. So I would ask you guys to put in the comment section, do you support this idea? But low-key, who are we kidding? If I did a Twitter poll on this shit, it would be what, 85% would say let's move to a 4-day work week. And there's another reason why, again, to get back to my direct democracy point, if we could vote on something like this every time there's a presidential election, have this issue come up, should we move to a 4-day work week? How overwhelming do you think that vote would be, dog? If we voted, the next time we voted for president in 2024, we had a direct ballot initiative where everybody in the country got to vote. Should we do a 4-day work week instead of a 5-day work week? How do you think that would break down? We all know how it would break down. And again, it's about time. Now we're seeing some movement in the right direction. Soak this in. Let's keep pushing further. And then I never would have thought, like last year, what I've said to you guys, there might come a day where we might see a 4-day work week in a whole bunch of states in the U.S. or eventually maybe for the entire country. I never would have said that. But now we're actually seeing some movement, and that is now a possibility. That is now on the table. I now think it is overwhelmingly likely that within 5 years, there's going to be at least a handful of states in the U.S. that officially have a 4-day work week as how they do it. So it's rare on this show, but happy days. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.